In the vast expanse of life, have you ever felt like you're floating, yet not truly approaching the person you aspire to be? This sensation often emerges around the new year. You envision shedding all the bad habits and adopting the good ones. You tell yourself, "This time will be different, this time I will do what I say," only to find yourself back at the starting point not long after, farther from the ideal self. So, the question is, how do you break free from bad habits? Today, we will delve into topics such as habit loops, dopamine fluctuations, and environmental adjustments. Make sure to stay tuned until the end of the video, and you'll gradually understand how to improve your habits, enabling you to truly achieve your goals in the new year. Let's begin. Imagine an airplane taking off from the origin to its destination. Before takeoff, you make minor adjustments to the plane, just a slight tweak of 3 degrees. As you fly straight along the line, eventually, you might deviate from the planned destination airport, or even fail to reach it. Our habits work in a similar way. Small changes in our habits can alter our lifestyle, and even our life trajectory. These changes may not be noticeable for many years to come. When we look back, we realize that these changes, whether positive or negative, define who we are. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the power of making small changes in our daily habits, steering our lives in completely different directions. Compared to large-scale actions, a 1% improvement can have a greater impact. We often mistakenly believe that only through massive actions can we achieve significant success. When pursuing any goal, we expect ourselves to take some kind of leap or make substantial progress to catch the attention of others. However, in reality, it is often the tiny improvements, initially unnoticed even by ourselves, that bring about incredible transformations. Let's delve deeper into this concept. Firstly, progressing by 1% each day results in a 37-fold improvement over the course of a year. Making progress by 1% daily accumulates into a remarkable 37-fold improvement in a year. Conversely, regressing by 1% each day resets your progress to 0 over a year. Your habits can accumulate in negative forms, such as stress and negative self-talk, or in positive forms, such as knowledge, productivity skills, and relationships. Stoicism teaches us that success is the product of daily habits, not a one-time transformation in a lifetime. The truth about progress is that when you embark on any endeavor in life, you expect linear progression, but what actually happens is subtle progress that may go unnoticed initially. This phase is often referred to as the valley of disappointment, where you've put in a lot of effort and see almost no results. It's also the point where most people fail and fall back into old habits. The most powerful outcomes of any compounding process are delayed, and this is when perseverance is crucial. Goals versus systems. Forget about goals and focus on systems. Goals are the results you want to achieve, while systems involve the processes leading to those results. Many notions suggest that the best way to achieve anything in life, whether it's becoming healthier, building a successful business, or spending more time with family, is to set specific and realistic goals. Stoicism, on the other hand, argues that when the goal is distant, you don't need to obsess over it. Instead, focus on your system, and you might unintentionally achieve what you thought was a difficult goal. Now, let me illustrate some issues with solely setting goals. 1. Achieving a goal only changes a moment in your life. 2. Goals may lead to an all-or-nothing conflict, either you achieve the goal and succeed, or you don't and become a failure. 3. If you solely focus on the goal, even if you move in the right direction and achieve a goal, what happens next? If your goal is to participate in a local marathon, once it's done, your motivation might quickly fade, and you may revert to old habits. Secondly, goals are more suitable for setting your direction, but system improvements are more conducive to making progress. System habits are small routine procedures and behaviors that accumulate over time, yielding gradual positive outcomes. Big breakthroughs often grab more attention than small improvements, but what truly matters are the small decisions and actions we take every day. Just as systems are the building blocks of molecules, system habits are the building blocks of outstanding results. Behavior change operates on 3 levels. The first level is changing outcomes, such as losing weight, writing a book, or winning a competition. Outcomes are what you get. The second level is changing processes, or what you do, such as adopting a new exercise routine or developing a habit of daily reading. The third level is changing identity, or your beliefs, worldview, and how you perceive yourself and others. Most people focus on outcomes, but the best way to change habits is to focus on becoming the person you want to be, not just achieving the desired results. The goal is not to learn to play an instrument, but to become a musician. The goal is not to run a marathon, but to become a runner. When what you want becomes a part of your life, your behavior naturally changes. When you tell yourself and others, "I am a runner," you aspire to live up to that identity. Remind yourself that you are an athlete every time you exercise. Remind yourself that you are a programmer every time you write code. Remind yourself that you are a leader every time you guide a team. Habit loop refers to something becoming repetitive. It happens enough times to become automatic. Ultimately, we hope our habits can solve life's problems with minimal effort. Habits form and strengthen through continuous feedback loops, including cues, cravings, responses, and rewards. Creating a feedback loop for continuous improvement is key to ensuring habits stick. For example, a vibrating phone is the cue, the craving is wanting to know who sent the message, the response is picking up the phone, and the reward is solving the mystery of the message sender. Such habit loops become more solid and automatic over time. Cues can be anything: smells, sounds, visuals, people, places, and more. Try to identify any cues in your daily life that trigger your positive or negative habit loops. Thirdly, the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism. So, how do we influence habit loops to make them work for us? Stoicism presents us with 4 rules that will guide us in doing just that. Rule 1: make it obvious. Most of your current habits are so automated that you may not even be aware of them. Before changing them, you must first become conscious of your habits. You can achieve this by creating a habit scorecard, a tool to record all your daily actions from waking up to going to bed. Your scorecard might look like this, categorizing each habit as positive, negative, or neutral based on whether it helps you become the person you aspire to be. At this stage, we are not trying to change anything, we are simply observing what actually happens in our daily lives. Until you make the subconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Precise intention is a real challenge when forming habits. Research shows that the reason people often fail to stick to habits is not necessarily a lack of motivation, but a lack of clarity. Saying to yourself, "One day I will become healthier," is easy, but too vague to generate any motivation. What you need is a specific time and place. These most common cues will help you achieve your goal. Clearly state your behavioral intention using the following format: at this time, in this place, I will take action. Here's a bad example: I will read a bit more this month. Here's a good example: every morning at 6 a.m., I will read for 15 minutes in the spare bedroom. Another effective method to start a habit is through habit stacking. Combine the desired habit with an existing habit using the following formula: after current habit, I will start new habit. For example, after brushing my teeth, I will stretch for 5 minutes. You can stack multiple habits together, like meditating for 10 minutes after brushing your teeth, then planning your day, and finally checking social media. If you consistently practice this routine, it is more likely to stick. Choosing the right trigger is crucial, and you need a cue. Your trigger should be something you do automatically and without hesitation during the day, such as waking up, turning off the alarm, or brushing your teeth. Stoicism teaches us that motivation is overrated, and by designing your environment, you can better shape your behavior. We are more influenced by our environment than by willpower or motivation. Good habits are challenging to maintain in a negative environment, and the environment is the invisible hand shaping human behavior. Creating a habit requires redesigning your space so that cues for the desired habit are more visible and bad habits are made invisible. If you want to drink more water, place a water bottle in a visible location at home. If you want to read more, keep books where you often see them. If you want to excel on the guitar, don't hide it in the closet, keep it in plain sight. Context in the environment serves as cues, and the presence of objects in the environment does not determine our behavior. It is our relationship with them that does. Don't view your environment as a simple place filled with objects, imagine it as a space filled with relationships. The living room sofa might be a place for one person to read books in the evening, while for another person, it's where they relax after work by watching TV, eating pizza, and working. If your relationship with the sofa is a place to relax, completing work tasks in this environment may be challenging. Try creating separate areas for different activities in your home, one space, one purpose. If you're attempting to eliminate a bad habit, you can only rely on self-control in the short term. However, if you want to fundamentally cut off the source of a bad habit, one practical method is to make it invisible by eliminating it from the environment. For instance, if your work efficiency is low, you can place your phone in another room for a few hours. If you're trying to lose weight, hide or remove junk food from your home. Creating distinct areas for different activities and making the undesired habits physically invisible can significantly impact your behavior over time. Rule 2. Make it attractive. When we expect a reward, we take action. Stoicism teaches us that the more attractive a behavior is to us, the more likely we are to repeat it until it becomes a habit. Therefore, the first step in forming good habits is to make them more attractive. Understanding how dopamine affects your body can be helpful. Dopamine is a hormone and neurotransmitter, and our motivation levels are largely influenced by dopamine. When our dopamine levels rise, we are more motivated to take action. By measuring dopamine, scientists can precisely identify the exact moment cravings occur. Dopamine was once thought to be only related to pleasure, but now we know it is crucial to many neural functions, including motivation, memory, learning, punishment, and voluntary movement. Dopamine release doesn't just happen when we experience pleasure, it also occurs when we anticipate pleasure. Gamblers experience a dopamine peak before placing a bet, not after winning. Let's delve into dopamine peaks. Activities such as using social media, consuming junk food, and drug use are all associated with high levels of dopamine and are highly prone to habit formation. Before going on vacation, consider that sometimes the anticipation and expectation of a vacation can be more delightful than the actual vacation. Seeing the junk food you crave can cause a dopamine spike, not after consuming it. Drug users experience an increase in dopamine when they see the drugs, not after taking them. Desire is the reason we take action for the first time. And making habits attractive is crucial because it is the expectation of rewarding experiences that drives us to take action. Here, you can employ a strategy known as temptation bundling. This process combines an action we need to do with an action we want to do, making a habit more attractive. For example, you can bundle watching Netflix, something you want to do, with exercising, something you need to do. Temptation bundling leverages a psychological principle known as the Premack principle, proposed by Professor David Premack. The Premack principle states that a more likely behavior will reinforce a less likely behavior. In other words, even if you don't look forward to doing some exercise, you may be compelled to do it because there's an opportunity to do something you truly enjoy alongside it. Social influence. We are constantly concerned about how others will perceive us, and we often change our behavior based on this answer. We are influenced by the people closest to us and the groups we belong to. One of the best ways to build a good habit is to find and become part of a culture that nurtures that habit. If you want to become healthier, surround yourself with healthy people. If you want to read more, join a book club. Primitive motivations, the source of desire. In our daily lives, you wouldn't say something like, "I want to eat pizza because I need to ingest this food to survive." Surface-level desires are just manifestations of deeper motivations, and these underlying motivations guide our behavior. For example, someone motivated by the fundamental drive to connect with others might join Facebook, while those seeking love and reproduction might register on Tinder. If you want to reduce uncertainty, there's Google to solve that. If you seek social validation, there's Instagram. Reframe your mind to embrace challenging habits. If you can make difficult habits more attractive, you can learn to associate good habits with positive experiences. By emphasizing the benefits of habits rather than their drawbacks, you can quickly reshape your thinking to make them more appealing. For instance, equate health and well-being with fitness rather than fatigue. Associate cleaning the house with a peaceful environment instead of wasting time. Link saving money with future financial freedom rather than sacrifice. Make breaking bad habits unappealing using the same approach, but emphasize the benefits of not engaging in that habit, making it as unattractive as possible. Rule 3. Make it easy. How long does it actually take to form a new habit? In the habit formation process, as repetitions increase, behavior becomes more automatic, reducing the burden of minimal effort. The larger the energy demand, the less likely it is to occur. Habits are more likely to happen when less energy is required. A habit like reading one page of a book every day requires almost no energy. Habits are more likely to form when they require less energy. The greater the obstacles, the more friction there is between you and the desired outcome. If you need to take a detour to reach the gym, chances are you won't go. But if the gym is on your way to and from work, you significantly reduce friction, making it more likely for you to stick with it. If you can make good habits more convenient, you're more likely to stick with them, making your life easier. Finding ways to reduce friction rather than trying to solve it is the key to establishing better habits. We must find ways to reduce friction associated with good habits and increase friction associated with bad habits. Preparing for success by automating or setting up your environment can reduce future action friction. For example, preparing your workout clothes the night before makes it easier to start exercising in the morning. To prepare a healthier breakfast, you can set up the pan on the stove, place cooking oil on the counter, and gather ingredients the night before, minimizing any friction. Using the 2-minute rule to stop procrastination can help you establish small habits, leading to greater success. Find a simple 2-minute version of the habit you desire, breaking down the expected outcome. For example, turning marathon running into putting on shoes and stretching for 2 minutes, or reducing daily reading to reading 1 page. Solidify the good habit and gradually increase the difficulty. Once you've mastered the 2-minute habit, move on to the next stage. To make something more challenging, consider creating barriers between you and bad habits, making them as impractical as possible. For instance, if you want to watch less TV, unplug the TV and place the remote in an inconvenient location after each use. If spontaneous spending is a bad habit, use cash instead of credit cards when shopping to reduce the occurrence of the habit. Rule 4. Make it satisfying. The most important rule for behavior change is that feeling pleasure sends a signal to the brain, saying, "This feels good. Let's repeat this behavior." When you experience pleasure, your brain learns that the behavior is worth repeating. Remember and repeat: behaviors that are immediately rewarded will be repeated, while behaviors that are immediately punished will be avoided. The first 3 rules increase your chances of executing a habit this time, while the last rule increases your chances of repeating the habit next time. The mismatch between immediate and delayed rewards is common. We often feel good because of immediate results when practicing bad habits, but we feel bad about the long-term results. Conversely, for good habits, immediate results may not be pleasant, but the ultimate results are satisfying. In almost every area of achieving some level of success, it involves ignoring immediate rewards to gain long-term benefits. It's best to add some immediate pleasure to habits that will have long-term rewards, and add some pain to habits that won't have rewards. The key to keeping habits going is to feel successful, even if it's only in small ways. The feeling of success is a signal that your habit is paying off, and the behavior is worthwhile. Making progress is satisfying, and you can use visual metrics to monitor your progress. For example, move a paperclip into a small box every 25 minutes of writing. Visual metrics can take many forms, such as food journals, exercise logs, progress bar displays, etc. Keeping track of habits can be the best way to monitor your progress. Using a habit tracker is a simple way to determine whether you've performed a specific habit. Tracking itself becomes a reward. Crossing off tasks on a to-do list, completing an exercise log, or putting an X on the calendar are all satisfying. Even with your best efforts, life will inevitably interrupt you at some point. A bad day at work, poor performance, or a lousy workout can happen to anyone. When you have a bad day, you might not realize how important just showing up is. Missing a day can be more damaging to you than the help gained from successful days. Don't break your streak. Each time you cross off a day for a given habit on your calendar, you're making progress. Showing up is crucial, and missing 2 consecutive days or plans is the beginning of forming bad habits. Even if you usually do 50 push-ups, doing only 10 on a particular day is okay, as long as you maintain consistent planning. To break bad habits, make them unsatisfying. When pain is immediate, the likelihood of the behavior occurring is lower. Having a partner hold you accountable is a good way to maintain the habits you desire. We all want to be liked and respected, so we tend to avoid punishments that we're going to be held accountable for. For example, every time I miss a workout, I owe you $10, and furthermore, I lose the respect I've earned for not doing what I said I would. Your behavior is more likely to be influenced by specific and immediate consequences. Contract of habits. Much like governments employ laws to hold citizens accountable, you have the power to establish a personal contract of habits, verbally or in writing. By doing so, you articulate your commitment to adhere to specific habits, with consequences for non-compliance. Subsequently, you can enlist an accountability partner to enforce this contract. Understanding the Stoic philosophy, I attempted to visually illustrate how I've personally applied this method over the past few months to enhance our habit system. After watching this video, you may have insights or suggestions superior to mine, or perhaps identify areas I've overlooked or could improve. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. The positive habits I aim to cultivate include dedicating 30 minutes each day to exercise and 30 minutes to reading. The undesirable habits I seek to eliminate are lack of focus and excessive use of social media. For the exercise habit, the initial step involves making cues more conspicuous. I exercise in the living room at 6 a.m. To further design my environment to encourage this new habit, I brought out a set of dumbbells from the cupboard, placing them in the living room. Additionally, I adorned the living room walls with images promoting healthy habits. These visual cues aid in remembering my goals and make the prompts more pronounced. The subsequent step is to make the habit more appealing. I applied the strategy of temptation bundling, allowing myself to indulge in watching TV shows or movies only during exercise. This makes the habit more enticing, as I look forward to enjoying entertainment while working out. Continuing with making habits easy, I employed the 2-minute rule, committing to exercising for just 2 minutes every morning. This makes the habit seem less daunting and easy to initiate. I also automated my environment by preparing my workout attire the night before, reducing friction and making it easier to start exercising in the morning. Finally, to make this habit satisfying, I created a habit tracker and rewarded myself with a checkmark for successfully completing the exercise each day. This visual measurement system reinforces the gratification of sticking to the habit. Now, for the reading habit, the process is somewhat similar. I made cues more obvious by setting specific times and places. I decided to read for 30 minutes every night before bedtime. I designed my environment by placing a book on my bedside table, making it easy to grab and start reading. I also applied the 2-minute rule, committing to reading at least 2 minutes each day. This minimal commitment makes starting this habit easy. I automated the environment by creating a cozy reading corner in my room, complete with a comfortable chair and good lighting. Finally, I tracked my progress with a habit tracker where I put a paperclip in a small box for each small accomplishment. I rewarded myself with a segment of my favorite music after successfully reading each day, making this habit satisfying. Addressing the bad habit of excessive use of social media, I identified triggers such as getting hooked on mundane information on my phone or procrastinating. I then made efforts to make these cues less obvious, like putting my phone away during work hours. I also associated this habit with negative consequences, such as wasting time and decreasing productivity, to make it less appealing. Implementing a habit contract, I established consequences for excessive social media use, and this accountability measure helps prevent falling into the negative habit. Every time I engage in excessive phone use, I have to give my wife $10. Various Stoic perspectives and methods have contributed to my self-improvement. So, remember that our approaches may differ, but we all aim to become the best version of ourselves. Feel free to share your insights and improvements in the comments below. The positive habits I aim to develop include a more consistent exercise and reading routine, while I seek to eliminate the bad habits of distraction and excessive social media use. Interestingly, motivation often appears after forming the habits. My mindset is focused on small 1% changes, gradually evolving into meaningful results, and my system will yield outcomes rather than vague goals. So, keep in mind that our current primary focus is ensuring I show up where I should, and I've already started solidifying these habits. Once you consistently show up, you can enhance progress. I established a rule: I don't allow myself to check my phone until after completing my exercise. If I get distracted by emails or social media, it becomes an excuse and a friction point between me and finishing the workout. For me, this has been a game-changing factor. So, I have to set the environment for initiation. When I lay out my shoes, yoga mat, and dumbbells the night before, my presence and exercise completion percentages soar. Once I've arranged these items the night before, I feel the ritual has begun, and the exercise is already done because I have no excuse not to do it. Therefore, systematically applying these ancient philosophical principles, I've created a loop for each habit, ensuring I consistently show up and repeat the behavior. This loop system includes cues, cravings, responses, and rewards, crucial for establishing and maintaining these habits. The key is to make habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, while maintaining patience and focusing on identity rather than immediate results. For the reading habit, my rule is to read on my balcony at home. One of my favorite parts of the day is enjoying a delicious cup of coffee in the morning, so it's a perfect pairing for my reading habit. Keeping in mind that dopamine rises in anticipation of the reward rather than the reward itself, I hope to associate the dopamine surge for the coffee craving with reading. My 2-minute rule is to read a page of The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. Very simple. Initially, my concern was just to show up and establish the habit, and then I gradually extended the habit to 60 minutes. To eliminate the bad habit I'm trying to eradicate, I first made my phone as uninteresting as possible by deleting numerous applications. I tell myself, mindlessly scrolling through information sources would leave me wasting time in someone else's designed boredom. Therefore, you want to portray the bad habit in a way that makes it extremely unappealing. To increase friction, I place my phone in a drawer in another room, completely out of sight. To make it unsatisfying, I have an accountability partner who enforces this habit. The penalty is, if she catches me using social media during work hours, I owe her $10. This principle has yielded positive results for me so far. If you want more wisdom and inspiration from Stoicism, please subscribe to this channel. There will be more examples and stories, deeper knowledge absorption. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and I'll do my best to answer them. If you find this video inspiring, please don't hesitate to like and bookmark it. Wishing you good luck on this journey. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.